On today's show, I'm going to be showing you and talking to you about how you can see a massive increase in sales in 2025.
We're also going to be talking about what to avoid in the area of sales, what you must not do.
And I'm going to be discussing with you a very simple thing you can do right now to see a massive influx of leads coming into your business. My name's Alasdair Cunningham. Welcome to today's show. I'm here joined today by the wonderful, amazing
Tom Cook.
And today we're going to be talking about sales, what to avoid, and I'm also going to be giving you a little tip on what you can do to increase leads in your business. I don't care what your business is. If you do this, I guarantee you will increase leads into your business. And without leads, you're not going to be able to sell. Without sales, you're not going to be able to live life on your terms. Without living life on your terms, you're going to be miserable, stuck in your job. It's as simple as that. Anyway, Tom, what have you been up to?
Growing the business last week, continuing to manage the team, growing out the culture of the business. What about yourself? What have you been doing?
Not much. I had a few days off. So I went karting last week with a couple of the guys from the office, took them out for the day. And, we're good bosses. We like to take them out and like to, when they're not chained to the desk, we like to take them out and let them have some fun. So I took them karting last week. I watched them wreck my karts, basically, because James told me he could drive. And turns out he can drive, just not on the circuit. He prefers driving on gravel and grass, which is interesting. I said to him, keep it in the white lines. I don't think he understood that. I don't think he got that sales memo, which was interesting, but, just write off a brand new cart, no problem.
Hope he handles the camera better than he handles the cart then.
I doubt it. Anyway, listen, on this week's show, we want to talk about sales, right? Come on, Tom. Why is sales so important? Everyone hates sales. People are allergic to sales, do you not think?
Yeah. I always say, if you give somebody the challenge to go and sell their products for free, they'll happily do it.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get them to ask for money, that's when people start having a meltdown.
Why? Why, Lo? What do you see sales? If you had to sum up sales, how would you sum it up? So, to me, if I said to you, describe sales to me, what would it be? And I don't forget your product or service, forget what it is you actually do. Let's go back to the root of sales. What is sales?
Find out what people's problem is, what they're struggling with, what it is that they want and they need, and then guide them to that solution.
Yeah.
And in exchange, you're asking for payment.
I think sales is all about serve. It's all about serving. Yeah. So people, when you twist what you think about sales and you see it more as serving people, it takes that barrier that you have that stops you selling. Now, understand this fundamentally, right? If you cannot sell, you will be working for somebody who can sell.
Yep.
Right? So understand this. If you want to build a business, you have to get good or get understanding of sales. Sales is crucial in every aspect of every business. Now, think about it. It's not just about selling for money. It's about selling people into an idea. If you've got a mission that you want to sell your team members onto, you have to sell them onto that because they don't see your vision or your mission. You have to sell them onto that mission. So it's not always just about how do I sell something to get paid. It's about how do I sell somebody onto anything, okay? And I believe sales is crucial in every aspect of every business, every day. I believe you should be selling at all times. And it might be selling people into yourself. It might be selling people into your business, selling people into your model, selling people into your vision. It might be selling your kids into the fact that eating healthy food is better than eating unhealthy food. Yeah. It might be selling yourself into getting up and going to the gym tomorrow. It might be selling yourself into, actually doing what you said you're going to do. So you're selling in every aspect of every part of your life.
Yeah. And I agree with, so what happens is that, because I've heard about that, you're always selling every day, you're selling an idea, you're selling a dream. So I get all that. It is purely just when people start. For me, in my own experience, what I see in other people as well, when they have to ask for a payment, that's when they start, they have the meltdown, they can't do it, they get all nervous, they get all anxious, the sweats come on. That's where people struggle.
I wonder why that is. Why is that, Lo? Why do people, tell me in the comments, right? Why do you, if you don't like selling, what happens for you when it comes to, asking somebody for money for a service or product that you offer? What's that barrier that you have? What's that problem? What's that resistance? What's that roadblock that suddenly comes up for you when it comes to selling? I've never really been scared of selling. Never. You have?
Yeah, terrified.
Why?
I was so now it's not the case though.
But why? Why were you terrified? Back in the day, why were you terrified?
Because I didn't think whatever.
Give me an example of one time you sold something
So
and it went completely wrong.
yeah, I did a webinar once, and there'd been.
Did you want the webinar to mysteriously just swallow you up?
I wanted the floor just to open up, and just, it was right. And the team behind it, they'd been working on it for ages. It wasn't just my effort in it.
I remember this.
It'd been going on for months.
I
been
remember
building
this.
up.
You were gutted.
Oh, devastated. Absolutely devastated. And got on the webinar, did the whole thing. All this prep had gone into it, and then at the end, I made the offer.
And it was like crickets.
Yeah, that's what it's like. And you just, oh God.
Tumbleweed.
Yeah, the tumbleweed's just rolling across.
James, put a tumbleweed across the screen, right?
And it's a horrible feeling. Not only did I obviously let down myself, but it was like the people that had been involved in that as well. But in answer to the question, it is the fact that subconsciously, I didn't think what I was offering was good enough. So actually, I felt like I was robbing these people and not giving them fair exchange. That's what it came down to.
So that's interesting. That's interesting, right? So go back to that moment when you were selling, right? That moment when you're on your webinar and you're doing a pitch. What was it? Was it for like a 2-day event or something?
No, it was just for a small. It was for a small group coaching program.
And how much was it?
I can't remember. Not loads.
It was like 40 quid or something, wasn't it?
It wasn't
a lot of money.
loads. It wasn't loads.
So it was like 40, 50 quid. It was like definitely a low ticket item, under $100, yeah? But go back to that moment when you started selling it. So you're on the webinar, you've done an amazing presentation, and you're great at presenting. So you've done an amazing presentation, you've offered heaps of value, and you get to that point where it's like, hey, listen up, guys. Like, if you want to come and attend this virtual 2-day event or whatever it was, it's going to cost X. What was going on in your body? What was going on in your mind? What was going on? Was your heart pounding? What was the emotion? What was the feelings that were coming up?
So leading up to it, I'm doing the webinar, I'm doing the presentations, and then leading up to it, I've got in the back of my mind, oh my God, I'm going to have to sell soon. Oh my God, I'm going to have to sell.
Yeah, so you're worrying about it before it's even happened.
Yeah. And then those slides start kicking in, the offer slides. I start stumbling over my words. I start tripping up. I can't get that flow. I used to go bright red in the face like a tomato. So it was written all over me that I was uncomfortable selling. And that immediately starts sending like warning signals to people.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That's why, because if you've got that fear around it, people can smell it.
Yeah.
They can pick it up.
We said in an earlier episode, desperation stinks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and obviously, you were desperate to sell and desperate to see some sales. Not necessarily for your financial gain, but because there was so many people put a lot of effort into getting people on that webinar.
Yeah.
And you felt you were letting them down. Like, do you remember the point when you actually done like the price? You said, hey, look, if you want to do it, it's going to cost you X. What was your heart pounding? And
yeah, I got face is bright red, my heart's pounding, I've got dry mouth, sweaty hands, all of that is going on. And then there's that window in time where it's like, oh my God, nothing's coming in. And then you start to panic. You've
done the offer and you're trying to watch real-time sales.
Yeah, because you have a spreadsheet there, so you can see what's coming in.
It just pops in, doesn't it? You see when people buy, it comes up through an email or whatever, and you see, hey, this person's just bought. So I understand. I've done hundreds of webinars. I understand the process, and I know what it's like. Like when you offer a product or a service, and you say, hey guys, look, this is an amazing product, come and buy it, and nobody buys. Yep. Crickets. Yeah, it's soul destroying. Yeah, it is, especially when you know you've delivered really well. And like, if you're watching this right now and you've got a product or a service and like, let's say, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is, and you present it and you have to sell it in a way of like a presentation, or you have to actually offer it. So I'm not talking about like, you've got a shop and somebody comes and buys a glass or a bag of crisps or whatever. I'm talking about an actual valuable sale. So like maybe you're I don't know, like maybe you're a consultant and you're offering consultation services. Maybe you're a web developer and you're offering your services, building a website for somebody. And it comes to that point of actually selling your services and delivering the quotation or the estimation for how much that's going to cost. Like I've met quite a few people that portray themselves as sales experts, but when they sell, they also sweat. They also get nervous. They also go bright red, and they also want to cringe up, and it's just it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's a mismatch.
So what did you do to overcome it?
I'll be honest, it took me a long time. I had to get a lot of coaching on it because it's just like some deep-rooted shit going on in my mind and I've got all these bad ideas about selling. When it finally clicked was, as I said earlier, when I realized that sales is about just find out what people want, what the problem is, what they're struggling with, and then match them up with the right solution. It's just like going to a doctor's. You go to the doctors, they ask you, what are the symptoms? They ask you some questions, what's going on? They then give you a diagnosis and they say, do you know what, we'll take these tablets or take these antibiotics, whatever it is. And it's the same in sales. You sit down with somebody, find out what they want, what the pain point is for them, and then go, okay, well, actually, based on what you said, this is going to be the right solution for you. And then all you're doing in exchange is you're just asking for a fair amount of money.
Yeah.
As long as you're giving more... You're giving more in use value than you're taking in cash value.
Do you know one of the biggest things that I see with people that come to us and they're struggling with sales, right? First things first, right? If you can't be sold to, you'll never be able to sell.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you cannot be sold to. Yeah. So if I, like, for instance, if you ever come to my business and I offer something to you and you cringe up and you're like straight away you're like this, you want to have a fight, you're like your barriers up. If you cannot be sold to, the minute somebody starts trying to sell to you, if you back up, if you cringe up, if you go, oh my God, he's selling to me, then you will never sell. You will never be able to sell because subconsciously you associate sales as a negative. So often the people that can't sell are people that have been, number one, the perception is they've been missold something. So maybe they've had an experience in the past where they've had a pushy salesman or they've had somebody sell them something that perhaps wasn't what they thought were buying, right? But again, I understand that to a point, but again, you've just got to be mindful that not all salespeople are bad. So if you've had a bad pushy salesman in the past, I understand that's why one of the problems, but you have to get over that, right? Number two is I think you really need to understand what it is, what do you serve? What do you solve, okay? So number one, like there's a saying, have you ever heard the saying, he could sell ice to an Eskimo?
Yeah.
Why would he want to?
Yeah.
This is the point. Why would you want to sell ice to an Eskimo when they've got plenty? So this is the thing. When it comes to selling, stop trying to sell products to people that don't need them. And often the reason why people do that is because they haven't got enough leads. We'll cover that at the end of this podcast, okay? But the reality is this. When it comes to sales, if you're trying to force your products and services onto people, there's two things happening. Either you're unethical at what you're doing or you don't have enough people to sell to and you're doing it just to make money. Therefore, you're prioritizing your needs over this customer's needs. Yep. So that's the biggest problem. If you want to sell, prioritize your customer's needs over your needs, okay? Tony Robbins says when you give them what they need and what they want, you will also get what you want, right? The problem is most people, they focus on, hey, making money, making money, making money. That's the wrong way to look at this. You will make money if you serve people. You will make money if you help people. If you try and force things down people and if you try and force sales onto people, one, you're going to get a bad reputation. Two, you're going to not sell as many as you want and you're going to get a lot of like refund requests and a lot of problems down the line. Like, listen, we have very few problems in our business because we don't force sale things, right? So
we've turned people away.
So here's like 5 things that I would do in order to increase your sales in 2025. Number one, really, truly understand what it is, your product or service, where does it sit in the market and what does it solve? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because they go to make an offer and then they're like, oh, actually, what is my offer? What am I giving to people?
How many times have we asked that to people? What do you sell? And they can't tell us. What does it solve? Right? You need to understand what it is your product or service solves. Where does it sit in the marketplace? What does it do? What does it solve? Like, if you don't know that, then figure it out. Number 2 is make sure you're only selling your product or service to people that actually need it.
Yep.
Right? Need it and want it. Right? A lot of people try and force their products and services onto everybody, but actually it's just the wrong way to do it.
That's where it gets awkward as well.
It gets awkward and it gets pushy. What you're better doing is understanding really where your market is and where your product sits in that market, and then going to that market and then promoting your product that fixes a problem and offering your product as a solution to help them move forward, right? Third one.
Always talk about the benefits, not the features.
Yeah.
It's, your features are like, by them buying your program, your service, your offer, product, whatever it is, what do they actually get from it? Because the question that they're asking, the customer, the prospect, they're asking in their head, great, what's so good about that? But the salespeople fail to tell that.
So years ago, I used to work in the tool industry, right? I used to work for a well-known worldwide manufacturer called Snap-on Tools, right? And they say this: the features are built at the factory, the benefits felt by the end user, right? People buy what they want, not what they need. You give them what they need, but you sell them what they want, right? For instance, right? If you've got a little fancy ratchet, for instance, like a little ratchet for undoing nuts and bolts, right? Let's say it's a tiny little one that fits in the palm of your hand. The feature is it's small, right? But if you go into a mechanic and say, hey, I've got this small ratchet, do you want to buy it? They're not going to buy it.
It's meaningless.
But if you go into this mechanic and you say, hey, we've got this perfect ratchet that fits in the gap of this car, and it means you can work faster, you're selling the benefit as opposed to the feature. They say always sell the benefit, not the feature. You talk about the features, but you sell them on the benefit. And it's the same with your products. What does your product help them achieve? What does it help them win with? So sell them on the benefit, okay? So number one, understand where your product lies in the marketplace. Number two, understand who it is you're selling to and make sure they actually want what it is you need. Number three,
go over benefits. Don't sell them the features, sell them the benefits. That's what they want.
Number four, don't be scared once you've talked about the benefits to actually ask for the sale. Hey, there's sales in closing, okay? There's two different things. People confuse sales and closing as one thing. It's not. There's salesmanship and then closer, okay? And make sure that when you're selling, you're not closing because you don't want to close too early. And what I mean by close is actually saying, hey, look, the investment is X, how do you want to pay? Often people mix the two. They're selling and they're closing at the same time, but the person buying is not ready to close. Right, so make sure you sell, features and benefits, promote the benefits over the features, but tell the benefits, tell the features, and then push for the sale. Go for the sale. Like actually, ask for the sale. Don't be ashamed of asking for the sale. And there's one key thing. If you want to increase revenue, if you want to increase sales, and if you want to increase your market position, there's one key element that Tom's going to tell you right now that will help you stand head and shoulders above the rest. And what is it, Tom?
Stop being the cheapest.
Yeah.
Stop being the cheapest. Stop doing it for free as well.
Stop working for free and stop being the cheapest. If you're the cheapest, it's a race to the bottom. And in an earlier podcast, we talked about the restaurant industry, right? We talked about the restaurant industry, and just a couple hours ago, I was on social media and I saw a video of a chicken and chip shop in Bradford, right? Restaurant industry, chicken and chip shop in Bradford, and they're banging all over social media about how they're the cheapest in town. You can go there and you can get 3 pieces of chicken and chips for £3. Right? There's no profit in that. Yep. And all you're doing is you're racing to the bottom because, hey, look, you've got this chicken and chip shop here for £3. Then you've got this chicken and chip shop down here for £2.85. Now you're going to go down to £2.50. All you're doing is you're racing to the bottom. And who are the most problematic customers, Tom?
The cheapest.
The cheap seats. The cheap seats are always the problematic customer. Okay, I've got customers that have spent £20,000 with me who I never have a problem with. And I've got people that spend £50 with me and they expect the world. Okay, so avoid being the cheapest at all costs. Okay, really, really important. Avoid being the cheapest at all costs. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. Now, moving on, Tom, give me 3 things that we must avoid when it comes to sales.
I think we talked about this earlier. Stop being desperate and stop making the offer straight away. I see, for instance, network meetings. Yeah. I see people go to network meetings, and they're great. That's a great strategy, especially if you're starting a business and stuff. But they'll go around the room just pitching their services. Pitching, hey, do you want to buy this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to come here? Forget all that, because those people are just going to go, screw that guy. I don't want to talk to them anymore.
You become blacklisted.
Yeah.
Like, you become like the guy that's always trying to sell something. Like, don't do that. Like, what would you say the best thing to do at networking events is?
Talk to people, get around the room, meet people, have as many conversations, and then you're collecting contact details. Because networking is, you're just trying to unlock each other's contact databases. And then after the network meeting, that's where you do the follow-ups. Book those one-to-ones with people. Start those private meetings, or whether it's a coffee. I'd suggest Zoom, actually, because you save yourself time. But that's the time where you start talking about what you do in business and what you can offer. Not in the room.
So number 1 is don't be so quick to do the sale. Actually offer value, build rapport, and build that connection. Number two, I'm going to give you a massive tip here, right? Number two, stop having meetings with everybody until you pre-qualify them, right? So the amount of people that I see have hundreds of meetings with people that are never going to buy, don't even have the money to buy, and it's a waste of your resources and it's a waste of your time, right? Alongside that, I'm going to also say, stop discounting, right? When you deal with the cheap seats, right? People have a habit of discounting, right? They have a habit of, people will come to you and say, hey, okay, great offer, but I want it for this, right? So how do you respond to people trying to get discount?
Would you like a discount on your results?
Yeah, that's great. Would you like a discount on your results? Or the next thing is, like, so for instance, I used to have this a lot in my garage. So I used to own a garage, and we used to have a lot of people would ring us up and they would say, hey, look, I'm just looking to get a quote for X. Let's say they have a van or something and they want to get all the brakes done, or they want to get a new clutch or something. So they'd ring up and say, look, I'm just ringing around to get prices on getting a clutch changed in this vehicle. First things first is you want to make sure that if you are going to be that person that quotes up a job before you see it, make sure that you're quoting like for like, right? So if you're in like a plumber, or if you're in the trades or whatever, you can't quote unless you know you're quoting like for like, because some people will use cheaper, inferior parts. Some people will discount and have secondhand parts. Like if you're of quality, make sure you're offering quality. So we used to have a lot of people ring us up and say, look, I want a quote for brakes all round on our vehicle. And I used to say, we don't do quotes. When you've rung around everybody else, give us a call back and tell us how much it is. And if we can match it, we'll match it. But I'm not wasting money doing quotes, okay? Because it's a waste of my time. Never used to do quotes, okay? Never. Right. And secondly, if we did put a quote out there after they'd rung around everybody else and come back and said, hey, look, can you price it up? We would price it up. We'd ask what their budget is. And then they would say to us, look, our budget's £1,500. I'd know very quickly if we can do it for that or not. And then I'd say, look, no, the best we can get it to is £1,850. And they'd say something like, well, can we do it for 15? And I'd say, fine, no problem, but what do you want to sacrifice in order to save that £350? So we can sacrifice, but we're going to be using cheaper, inferior parts. So we're going to use this brand of parts instead of this brand of parts. But they would say, no, we want that. And I'd say, well, look, it's not going to happen, okay? So I always, whenever somebody asks for a discount, I always remove something from the package, remove something from the offer, remove something from whatever it is they're buying and say, look, no problem. I can make the package more affordable for you, but what should I remove? Because I'm not going to devalue my products or services because I'm dealing with a cheap seat. It devalues me, but it also devalues the other customers that have bought that previous product, okay? If it comes to, let's say you've got a customer who, is one of these people that want to negotiate and they want to feel like they've gained something, I would never discount. I'd offer perhaps something else of value that doesn't take my time.
Yeah. Yeah. So you
do you want to explain what that means?
Yeah. So you're going to stack on, I don't have one here. Let's say you're selling a calculator, right, for £100. Expensive calculator, I know. But somebody goes, right, I want a discount on the calculator. You say, well, they want £10 off, so they want it for 90. You say, okay, look, I can't do the discount on the calculator, but what I can do is I can add on this pen for you. This pen is worth £10. So you're kind of giving them a discount, but instead of taking it off the price, you're adding it on. That's the best way I could explain it.
Yeah.
Add on the value.
I would never discount. I'd always add on the value. And even then, I wouldn't do that straight away. It's all about sales negotiations.
Yeah, that's like the last card to play. And I'll give you another point here. This is evidence further still why you shouldn't discount. When I'm doing in the past, doing one-to-one coaching, signing up clients, and I probably about 3 times gave a discount. My mistake. Because those 3 people never finished the coaching.
Yeah.
They never got through to the end. Everybody else who I never gave a discount to, they went all the way through to the finish, did great. And those 3 people who got the discount dropped off early.
They always
never
do.
Finished.
They always do, mate. Yeah. They always drop off early because they never finish what they cheap, because they don't value it. They value cheap.
Yeah.
And the final point I'm going to make on this, right, what to avoid in sales, right, is don't be scared to say no to your customer. They're not a customer if they don't match your criteria. Remember, this whole saying about the customer's always right is bullshit. The customer's not always right. 9 times out of 10, the customer's wrong. The customer's an asshole, right? So just remember that the customer is not always right, right? So just remember that. Like, be really honest about it. It's your business. Create it on your terms, all right? The amount of times I've had customers where I've had to sack my customer. I don't need your business. Thank you. Have a nice life. We don't match. I don't want to work with you, okay? See ya, right? Don't be scared to do that. Now, it's very easy in the early days to take every Tom, Dick, and Harry into your business. But the problem with that is you end up taking every Tom, Dick, and Harry. And they think that you're now at their beck and call. They think that you're now their personal whatever. It's not how we do business, right? So remember, it's your business. Create your terms. Don't be scared to fire your customers.
Okay, and what was this thing? You had a strategy or something for boosting sales,
boosting leads. Okay, so we've been working a lot in one of our businesses to generate more leads. Okay, and we're trying to get more and more leads into our business, and we've been trying various different strategies in order to do that. Okay, now we all, hopefully by now you've been watching this long enough, hopefully you understand about sales funnels and about marketing funnels, and every business should have some sort of funnel or marketing funnel. Okay, and what that is it's a way to drive people into your business and through your product range. Now, the easiest way to get people into your business is to offer free or low cost value at the top end. So for instance, if you are, like, I'll give you an example. We have a training business, Valiant Education, right? Now, one of the training sectors that we work in is the property training sector. So we train people in property to help them build a 6-figure property business in 12 months or less. In order for us to gain people into our business funnel, we offer a free book. So I've written a book called the 1157 Property Plan, and you can get that completely complimentary. All you have to do is pay postage. So I'll give you the book, I'll send it to you. All you have to do is contribute towards the postage. Now, I'm going to give you the real numbers here. You pay £4.99 for that book, the postage. For me to send it to you costs me £8. Many of you will be turned off at this idea because you'll be like, hey, I'm losing £4 on the front end. But see it as a marketing cost, right? The people that are wise will understand that that person now comes into your world. They're now in your ecosystem. They know who you are. They're reading your materials. They're now classed as a warm customer. So now I can go to that customer who's bought my book and I can promote and market my other products and other services. Statistically, I know that for every sort of 3 books that I send out, we end up with a paying client. So ask yourself this. Are you prepared to create a lead magnet that if you send out 3 of them, you get a paying client for your business? Ask yourself that question. And if you want more help in figuring that out, drop us a message. Let's see if we can help you. Listen, I hope you found today's show useful. Make sure you join us again next week. We're going to be covering more and more next week. I hope you're finding the podcast useful. Make sure you're sharing it. Make sure you're talking to your friends about it. Like, comment, share. Remember, you can also catch us on YouTube. If you're not watching us right now, and if you're only listening to us, feel free to catch us on YouTube as well, where you can see all the episodes every single week in full, unedited. Tom, any final words?
Yeah, make sure you just keep listening. Don't just watch 1 or 2 episodes. Keep coming back every single week, because the more, as we learn, right, as we grow, we share the ups, we share the downs. So you are always going to get new stuff from us as well. So keep tuning in. Also, if you found today's shows useful and you've implemented any of the things we've talked about today, let us know. We want to share. We want to share your business. We want to share your product. What is it? Let us know. If you've put something that we've said into action and it's making money for you, tell us about it. Maybe you'll get some more sales, guys. All right, peace out next time. See you next time. See you next time.